Stuttering helped me sell $5.3 million worth of online products over the past 4 years. And in this video, I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit more about why I feel like having a stutter, being a little bit more introverted, has actually helped me have somewhat of, success online, and hopefully how it can give you some insight and clarity on maybe if you're introverted, maybe if you don't feel like you always are able to connect with other people, how you can still have success and get out of your comfort zone and ultimately get to that next level that you feel like you deserve. So this is a pretty vulnerable topic, but I think it will hopefully give you guys some good insight into my background, my experience, and ultimately how it can help you guys as well. If you're new here, my name is Kekoa MacAuley, CEO, founder of The Modern SDR. We actually teach normal, everyday people how to learn the skill set of remote triaging and online sales. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys why stuttering actually has improved my emotional IQ, allowed me to actually foster deeper connections with a select group of people rather than just, connections with everyone. And ultimately how that helped me sell more than $5.3 million online over the past few years. Now, how did I even get started in this space? So back when I was 12 years old, I had a pretty bad stutter. I would have trouble saying my name. I had trouble saying certain words like cinnamon, like lily, and now it kind of comes a little bit more freely, but I think it's because I've let go of a lot of the emotions that I held when I was thinking of speaking. So especially during baseball seasons, I played baseball for probably 14 or 15 years, but especially during baseball season, I always felt my stress levels spiking. And during those, rather elevated levels of stress, I would always find myself stuttering more and finding it more difficult to communicate. Now, after starting a YouTube channel at age 14, I had a gaming channel that I ran for probably 4 or 5 years, and it was honestly one of the reasons why I probably got admitted into a pretty decent university. I went to Vanderbilt University, and it was probably, that YouTube channel that really allowed me to have people hear my voice in the way I wanted to be perceived. Because on YouTube, you can make edits, you can do all these things that ultimately allow people to hear yourself or hear you as you might want them to see. Now, as that kind of grew, I grew that channel to about 40,000 subscribers at its peak. I think we might have hit about 45,000 subscribers, but I really learned how to communicate effectively. I posted over 500 videos, had, multiple hour-long streaming sessions all throughout those, 4 or 5 years. And kind of through that, I found my stuttering slowly subsiding, right? Until I went to university. And at university, it was a whole new environment, right? All my life, I'd went to, schools that there was anywhere between like 25 people to maybe 100 people in my grade. Now, when I went to Vanderbilt, there was probably 2,000 people in my grade, and it's still a pretty small school. My state school was UT Austin, so I could have gone there. I think there's like 60,000 people there, 40,000 to 60,000, something like that. But at Vanderbilt, right, it was a much smaller school, but still very large to what I was used to. And when I got to Vanderbilt, it was a very new environment. I'd say we came from, average middle-class family, but, going to Vanderbilt, probably 25% of the people there, it's like top 1%. And then I think, probably 20% or 15% is like top 0.1% of all the wealth in America, right? So it's a very different crowd that you're surrounded with. And I think it taught me a lot, right? But especially when it comes to stuttering, because when I had to, talk to people, when I had to apply for job interviews, when I had to go through all these things, I had this stutter that kind of lingered with me. And it was because I was afraid of what other people would think of me, right? So the main times that I stuttered was because of increased levels of stress and because I would think, right, hey, what would this person think of me if I did stutter? So it was this kind of self-defeating cycle, because the more I would think that I would stutter, the more stuttering I actually, had, right? And it was kind of through that time that I realized that in order to remove the stuttering from happening, right, I had to just be confident within myself. And that led to a lot of introspection, which I think later led to, increased levels of emotional intelligence and being able to communicate effectively with others, right? Which, has now led to the success that I've had today. But it was very interesting because the less I thought about stuttering, the less stuttering that actually happened. And I think this ties into a lot of things in life, especially with our business, right? I think we're about to probably hit 30 people again inside our business. We recently laid off probably 10 or 15 people just because of, some changes inside the company. But now we're probably getting back up to that 30, probably 35 person mark. And the levels of stress are starting to build again, right? But what I've always found is that the less I try to force something, right? The less I try to push something that shouldn't really be pushed, the better results that I actually get. And it was the same thing with stuttering, because I found that in levels when I just had no stress, I was carefree, I just had fun, all my words flowed smoothly, right? And the very first sales call that I ever took, I was absolutely terrified. And if you guys have been to any of our webinars, you've seen kind of our video sales letters, you've seen any of our content, you've probably heard this story before. But the very first sales call that I really had to hop on was for a pretty well-known fitness client, right? He wanted to grow his Instagram page. I had an Instagram agency at the time, and I was absolutely scared out of my mind. This was a $997 sale, right? I was freaking out before the call. And because of that, I still stuttered on the call. But after closing that deal, after just taking about a 15-minute call, making close to $1,000 for a 15-minute phone call, I realized that people didn't care so much about the stuttering, right? At the end of the day, they wanted a certain product that would give them a certain result, and they were willing to pay for that. And even if I stuttered, even if I, messed up, at least in my head, right, I would be the greater judge of myself than anyone else. I cared more about the stutter and the perceived, negative viewpoints that other people might have of me. And because of that, I almost held myself back from doing a lot of the things that I wanted throughout my life, because I let this stutter get in the way. Even though most of the people I talked to didn't care, I would still let it take a hold of me. And because of that, not push myself to what I really could be accomplishing. So after taking that sales call and then taking hundreds, if not thousands more since then, right, and now selling over 5.3 million online, helping close to 1,200 students now inside the Modern SDR actually learn the skill sets of remote triaging and online sales, I realized that having vulnerabilities and having these problems, right, quote unquote, it makes you human. And people relate to other humans. So no matter what you're going through, no matter the pain, no matter the struggle, no matter, how you may feel others perceive you, generally it's going to be in your head. And if you can release that, you can let go and just be yourself, then you'll find your people, you'll find your crowd. And at the end of the day, in college, when I found myself stuttering or, feeling like other people were judging me, it just wasn't the type of people that I really wanted to be around anyways. And I was trying to force myself into this box that wasn't me. So embrace your vulnerabilities and find the groups of people that you see fit, that you want to be around, and that push you and, motivate you every single day. And you're going to be a lot happier that way. Now, throughout this whole experience too, I really felt my emotional IQ, my emotional intelligence developed quite strongly from this. I've gone through a lot of introspection throughout my whole life. And most of the times, even when I'm like doing activities, my mind is generally somewhere else, right? And I'm thinking about something else, generally business, right? Generally something about sales, generally about how we can improve our processes. But through that introspection, I've also come to realize that a lot of people have these similar vulnerabilities. They struggle with something, right? And the moment you put someone on a pedestal, right, is the moment that, and like the reality is that you shouldn't be putting anyone on a pedestal, because they most likely suffer from some vulnerabilities, some struggles, and maybe they just do a better job at hiding it than you do. But throughout all this introspection, throughout these past 4 or 5 years, being in this online space, starting a marketing agency, burning it down, then starting a new company, Modern SDR, I've realized that if you're able to listen to other people, if you're able to ask them questions that show that you actually put some introspection and some thought into those questions you ask them, then you can really connect with anyone and you can have success. And especially when it comes to something like remote triaging, like online sales, being able to listen effectively, communicate effectively, and have strong emotional IQ, a strong emotional intelligence, that's going to take you further than 99% of things in life, leading to deeper connections and deeper pockets, deeper commission checks, deeper, payments, more wealth for you as well. So I hope you got some value from this video. I like this style of video a little bit more than the heavily edited content we've done in the past. And I think this gives you guys a little bit more insight into my life and how I think. I've talked about this topic before on Instagram, but I think on Instagram, everyone wants to see the flash. Everyone wants to see the pizzazz. And, having traveled, I think now to 25 different countries, right? I've always been one for showing the flash and showing the pizzazz, because I know that the majority of people only want to learn something if they see the flashiness, if they see the results of it, but they're not willing to actually put in the work and, understand, hey, these are the inputs required. This is what you have to do in order to get that success. But I think if you guys see more of my videos on YouTube, you can go check out some of the other ones as well. But I think you guys will start to see, okay, this is what actually goes into it. And then this is the results that you can tangibly achieve once you actually put those inputs in and become the person, become the character that you have to be, right? Once you have the traits necessary to become the person that deserves these results, and it's going to take you a lot further. So I hope this was helpful. If you want to know a little bit more about what it looks like to work with us, there should be some links in the description down below. You can check out our video. It's like a 40-minute training breaking down exactly how remote triaging and online sales works. We also have a course for just $1. You can start there. There's probably 5, 6, 7 hours of content in there as well, teaching remote triaging and sales. And then we should have some other like social media links as well, things like that down below. So I hope this video was helpful. Share it with a friend if it was. Leave a like, leave a comment, leave some feedback, and I hope to see you guys on the next one soon. Cheers.